It is 73 BC, and Rome rises as the dominant power in the region, with vast annexed territories and absolute control of the surrounding seas, with large armies and a strong state structure centered on the Senate. However, the Republic would be shaken from within by an unexpected force that would echo for thousands of years, immortalizing forever the name of the one who made his captors tremble, becoming a legend of the struggle for freedom and justice after having broken the chains of slavery. He was none other than Spartacus. If there was one thing the Romans obtained in abundance with each new military campaign, it was slaves, thousands of them. Most were distributed around the Republic and its annexed territories to work as miners, farmers, or servants. But there was another use for slaves, and that was the arena. Those who had been soldiers were destined to be gladiators, and the demand was so high that schools were formed to better train them. Slaves had no rights whatsoever and could be killed, abused, or tortured in any way without their owners facing any consequences. Seneca detailed the abuses suffered by slaves and the arrogance of their masters by saying, "We abuse them as one does pack animals." In essence, the Republic had a legal system of human trafficking. And that's how we meet our protagonist, Spartacus. He was born in about 111 BC around the Struma River in present-day Bulgaria, and is believed to have fought as an auxiliary to the Roman army in Macedonia. But some theorize that he was a Thracian and that he deserted the army, while others suggest that he led bandit raids against the Romans, where he was captured and then sold. Plutarch describes him as more Greek than Thracian and notes that he was exceptionally intelligent and highly cultured. Be that as it may, tired of the bad treatment and abuse, Spartacus, along with 200 other slaves, planned an escape, but unfortunately, they were discovered. According to Plutarch, the original plan was simply to flee. However, once their intentions were exposed, they had no choice but to fight for their freedom or submit to execution. Knowing the punishment that awaited them, some 70 gladiators took kitchen knives, killed their captors, and fled to the outskirts of Capua. But escape was only the first part, as now they had to find a way to survive. So they began to move towards Campania, and as they went, they raided the various rural areas while inviting more slaves to join their movement. The revolt and the assaults in this area, which was a vacation region for the wealthy and influential people of Rome, quickly caught the attention of the authorities. However, in the capital, they perceived the slave revolt more as a crime wave than an armed rebellion. So Rome sent a military force under Praetorian command to put an end to it. A Roman praetor, Gaius Claudius Glaber, assembled some 3,000 men, not as legions, but as a militia chosen with haste and chance. It should be noted that these men were not legionaries, and it is said that they were afraid of the gladiators, as they had seen them fight in the arena several times and knew how well trained they were. Meanwhile, the rebels had made of Vesuvius, the volcano, their base of operations. Being that there was only one known road down the mountain, Glaber initiated a siege as he decided to wait until hunger forced the slaves to surrender. It is at this point that not only Spartacus' intelligence, but also his determination is demonstrated. In response to the siege, the rebels made ropes and ladders from branches of the vines and trees growing on the slopes of Vesuvius and used them to descend the cliffs on the opposite side of the Roman forces. They could well have fled, but surprisingly, and despite their numerical inferiority, they decided to go on the offensive, attacking the army from the flank and taking them by surprise, annihilating the soldiers and putting them to flight. And it is at this point where it is important to mention that women and children were part of Spartacus' group as well. He was accompanied by his wife, and she undoubtedly ignited the flames of freedom in his heart. According to Plutarch, she came from the same tribe as he did, and one day after getting up, she saw how a snake coiled around her husband's head while he was resting. Taking it as a sign, she prophesied that he would possess formidable power and that fortune would come to him at the proper time. After the victory, a second expedition was sent from Rome, and in the meantime, the rebels began to raid the areas surrounding the cities of Nuceria and Nola, with many other slaves joining their ranks. As soon as they were part of the rebel army, they were trained in the fighting tactics necessary to deal with any military units they might encounter. It is even said that on occasion, they would melt down the very chains used to enslave them and turn them into shields or swords. Finally, the second expedition under the command of Praetor Publius Varinius arrived, this time with 6,000 men. And it is here where historians do not know why, but Varinius divided his forces by putting a contingent under the command of his subordinates, Furius and Cassinius. According to Plutarch, this contingent was of about 2,000 men. This division is a matter of debate. Some say Varinius tried to make a pincer movement to encircle Spartacus and prevent him from escaping. Shortly thereafter, the smaller group engaged the rebels, but it proved disastrous for the Romans. Both Furius and Cassinius were killed, and their force was decimated, forcing the survivors to flee. The exact size of Spartacus' forces at this point is not known, unfortunately, and neither how and where these battles occurred, but one theory is that they took Varinius' troops by surprise, inflicting heavy casualties and putting them on the run. Varinius managed to escape, but his horse was captured, a thoroughbred horse, which would be ridden by Spartacus from now on. However, during one of these battles, it is believed that Oenomao, one of the gladiators who had fled with the initial group, fell in battle, which was a blow to the rebellion, but not enough to put an end to it completely. No doubt the Romans had twice underestimated the power of the force they faced and believed them to be nothing more than simple vandals, which cost them dearly. Thanks to these successes, more and more slaves joined the rebel forces, swelling their ranks rapidly. By now, winter was coming, and the rebels had their eyes set on going south, an area which was undoubtedly rich in both resources and slaves they could recruit. But that will be the subject of the next video. The Third Servile War had begun, and we still have a long way to go. And while waiting for the next chapter, we invite you to give us a like and subscribe. All those who do so will be part of our army. And by activating the notification bell, you can come to the front as soon as the fight begins. Additionally, if you buy us a coffee on Patreon, we will include your name in the credits of the next chapter. Undoubtedly, with your support, we will be able to continue delighting ourselves with the wonders of war history while accompanying Spartacus as he marches towards immortality. We thank all those who made this video possible and hope to see you next time.